Winslow is going to give us an update on Chattanooga Dialogues. And then Emma Mullins is going to talk to us about the Arts Community Expo and how we can get involved. So at this point, we have 31 people. So we're going to go ahead and I will turn it over to you, Mr. McCamish.
Oh, James and ArtsBuild, thanks everyone for having me on this morning. We are excited to get Chattanooga Unite underway. Tomorrow be the first of for the next 6 Saturdays. We are taking a break off on August the 1st, but July the 11th, 18th, 25th, August the 8th, 15th, and 22nd are the six Saturdays. No cost to anyone. If you'd like to participate, James has the form. You can participate in one, you can participate in two. Just let us know. We'll set space aside for you. You can bring your 10 by 10. You can sell. You can display your artwork. Anything that you would like to do. We've got masks for anyone that shows up. We'll be greeting everyone just to remind them of the safe protocols that are in effect and issued. So we're looking forward to doing it. We're looking forward to being at the River Park. There's plenty of free parking out there. The park itself has always been a backup site for us for Riverbend. And the work that we have done out there had indicated that it would hold some 40,000 people. Of course, we're not going to have numbers that come close to approaching that. Historically, we've averaged somewhere around a couple of thousand people, and people go and come. The afternoon will start off at 4 in the afternoon with the kids' talent program, which will be led by Amber Carrington. Amber was a finalist runner-up in The Voice, and she will be doing that for all 6 Saturday evenings with kids and kids within our community. Then that'll go till 6. There'll be an hour break, and then 7 o'clock we'll start a live music program. Now, tomorrow will be a very special program. We're honoring the heroes in our community. That includes a lot of essential workers, first responders, those doctors, nurses, those that provided the food chain for us, as well as it's the 5th remembrance, the 5th year of the Fallen Five. And of course, our stage will be right in the shadows of the wreath of honor that we all were a part in putting it together. So we will have a very short program, about a 15-minute program that will take place at 7 tomorrow evening. And then Josh Kisner will open up at 7:15, followed by Kingston, and then our last group of the evening, Heather Gillis band. So we'll finish up somewhere around the 10:30 hour tomorrow evening. Again, it's free to our community. We're just wanting to try to return to a degree of normalcy, and glad to offer this out to our community.
Can you talk about the types of vendors and exhibiting opportunities that you have available for people?
It's wide open for ArtsBuild. Anyone within ArtsBuild that would like to exhibit. Now, because we are on a short time string for tomorrow, if you are interested in doing it tomorrow, I'm going to give you this phone number and call Barbara, and it's 423-756-2212. You can also email Mitchell at riverbendfestival.com, but just make an extra phone call to Barbara because we are on a very short timeline for tomorrow. 423-756-2212, and it's Barbara. And anyone is welcome. Everyone is welcome. If you want to sell your product, you're more than welcome to do that. There's no fee for you. Just need to bring your tent, your tables, everything, and we'll provide the space for you. Can help you unload the cars, whatever you might need to do that. Parking is free, so everyone is welcome to come and participate.
Monica has a question. She says, what are security and safety requirements that are required to be able to do the event? Or Monica, did you want to ask it directly? It's up to you.
Sure, I can. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was eating toast while I was typing. Sorry. Yeah, Mickey, I was just curious, being that you're kind of being the, with this new event, you're breaking into these waters for all of our arts organizations and having one since we haven't had large events in a while. I was just curious if the county commission or anyone implemented or gave you any additional guidelines to do for safety and security because we have a lot of these arts organizations that we're working with that are trying to determine how to do their events and don't really art. So I was just curious if you had any of that to share.
Sure, Monica. The first thing was we anticipated with having extra face masks on hand. So we've got the face mask. We've also in the area designated, if you would, social distancing circles. But in the restroom areas, we have restroom attendants, for example, that make sure that the hand sanitizing is available in the restroom, as well as the soap dispensers. And then within the grounds, we have tables set up that will have hand sanitizing units at the tables so that people will be able to always practice good hygiene, whether it be going into the restroom and using the water there to frequently wash their hands, or if they want just hand sanitizers right there on the ground, we'll have those portable set up on tables that we'll have for everyone. I think we've got about 4 or 5 stations that we're setting up in the grounds there around the stage area. And we also maintain the distance of 15 feet from the stage to where the crowd will stand, and we hand sanitize the microphones as they're used. So we've tried to really take into account all of the precautions and go just a little bit beyond that. And we'll have some people greet people as they arrive and just remind them of the directives that are in place and that we're able to offer these free concerts as a result of complying with the Hamilton County Health Department guidelines.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Very glad to, and be glad to help anyone. This will be our first event. We've tried to think of everything, but we're going to be, we know we'll examine ourselves under a microscope to make sure that we've thought of everything and that we've made it safe so that others can join and do the same thing here in the future in our community and do it in a very safe way.
Any other questions? We did put in the box the number to call 756-2212 if you want to exhibit tomorrow. And also on the screen, you can see Mitchell's email address if you want to set up an opportunity to exhibit or vend at one of the future events. All right, well, thank you, Mickey, for joining us. We hope to be able to join in and hope that we can get some folks to participate. So thank you for sharing with us, and we look forward to seeing you over the course of the summer.
And James, I'll be glad to participate every week, give everyone an update, just give you a status report, because I want us all to go forward together in this and to do the things that really, the feedback that we're getting from the community is so positive that they're glad that we're coming out and that we're glad that they're doing, that we're doing this. And gosh, all of you all, just the different events that you have, I think it's really important to begin to return to a level of normalcy and just do it in a safe way and do it by the guidelines that are established out there.
Well, thank you. And I see in the chat box that Jen Lewis from Ava is saying that they were approved to move forward with the Four Bridges Arts Festival, and they're happy to share their safety plan with anyone who wants to see it. So thanks for giving us that update too, Jen. So thank you, Mickey. And we will move on to our next presenter, which is Robert Winslow, and he is going to update us on the Chattanooga Dialogues Project.
Hi, everybody. Do we have my banner to show?
Don't have the banner, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I just am glad to take a minute here to really tease a virtual exhibition that we're going to be putting up the week after next. Dialogues Chattanooga is a documentary series, local film series, just by me. My name is Robert Winslow, and for a long time before the pandemic, it was focused on these big questions for the future of Chattanooga. I talked to you about some of this last time. And now, whether it's how testing is ramped up, getting food out to people who need it, the economic impact, the eviction crisis, sort of just now really taking shape. The city is going to look very different a year from now. And these questions of the future are very concrete, and I encourage all of us, and I thank all of you for being creative and engaged in helping lead us forward. So that's what this iteration of the Dialogues documentary program is really trying to get at. Those are just some of the stories that I've been able to cover in the last 4 months. That's all it's been since we came into this new normal. And part of that is for artists to lead the way. I feel very strongly about this. We need to be creative, proactive, and the response that we got was really incredible. So I'm very excited to present a group of 14 local artists in their work that was responding to the pandemic during that initial lockdown when things were most uncertain. And I think it has a lot to offer to the rest of us in thinking through our own role or our own, working through this time. So what I'm going to do is put my personal email address for the program in the chat box, and a link to the Dialogues Facebook page, which is the best way to look for these updates over the next week as I start to put this content out. And again, with the goal of trying to knit together the best responses being put forward around the community and to think together creatively about what it will mean to go forward and be healthier, be stronger as we go through this. And I just really encourage anybody who's interested to get in touch with me, or I'll be reaching out to a lot of you. Thank you so much.
Well, could you tell us a little bit about the premiere and how you're going to roll out the project, and also where we might be able to see the trailer in the future?
Yeah, the Dialogues Facebook page is the best place to look up the banner, just teasing the series, a trailer, and a few other promotional looks at the art that's been submitted to us, all going up next week. And then the virtual exhibition itself is just a platform to promote these local artists. Again, I first put the call out as looking for inspiration and looking for ways to support local arts community in any way that any of us can. And I know there are a lot of really excellent parallel efforts that I hope we can bring it all together as we look toward the fall. But the Dialogues Chattanooga Facebook page or dialoguescha.com, I really look forward to sharing it with all of you.
And Robert, if you could put those in the chat box, we will copy them and send them out with the follow-up email to everyone. Any questions for Robert before we move on to Emma? All right, and I've just been informed that I did receive your banner, so I apologize. I must have overlooked it. I'll add it to the follow-up email too, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, so we're gonna turn it over to Emma. I know you're in the room, so I'm gonna pull up your slides and you can take it from here.
Hi, everybody. My name is Emma Mullins. I am an elementary school music teacher in Hamilton County, and for the past 2 years have coordinated our Arts Community Expo. I've met many of you, and we in Hamilton County appreciate the work that you do in and around our community and with our students. And we look forward to continuing and starting new partnerships with you, even in this odd environment. Normally we have our Arts Community Expo on our August in-service day, and we're in a big room and everybody's all together and we are shaking hands and making new relationships. And this year we just can't do that because of guidelines surrounding the school district for COVID-19. So Claire Stockman and I were trying to figure out a way to have this Arts Community Expo and still connect the artists in our community with our teachers. And we've come up with this virtual Arts Community Expo. So it is not in any way the perfect solution, but it is a way for you all to share your information with our teachers. So if you'll go, James, if you'll go to the next slide, thank you. So this, I think we can go to the next one too, sorry. So we have a link, and I will put it in the chat box, to a Google slideshow. And we just ask that you all, if you are willing and interested to partner with teachers and students in our community, or if you offer private lessons and you want a way to share that information with teachers, if you will use the template slide, which is in the slideshow, and give us a little information about yourself. What programs you offer, what you teach, does it cost money? Are you willing to partner for free? What things do you teach? And if you have a website or links to lessons that you've taught previously, we of course want those as well. So I will share that in the chat, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you guys have about the expo.
I had one question. So this expo is for individual artists and organizations too, right? The participation.
That is correct.
Okay, yes. Any questions for Emma? Can you talk about like some of the connections that have been made or some of the overarching goals of the expo?
So one of my personal connections is with the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum, which is in Nashville. We consider them part of our community. We have a couple teachers in our county, including myself, who participate in their words and music program. And so students write lyrics and then travel to Nashville and hear their songs set to music. So that's one of the music things. There are several arts organizations too that come in and work with students to create art. So we really just want to provide students and teachers an avenue to the arts in Chattanooga, because our arts community here is so strong and vibrant, and we want to expose children and students to as much of that as we can during their time with us.
Hey, Emma, talk about, I think you may have mentioned this, or I'm not sure, of what, describe the teachers that actually be looking at this. Is this all teachers or classroom teachers or fine arts teachers?
So this is directed at K-12 visual and performing arts teachers. So there will be theater, dance, vocal, and instrumental music teachers, general music teachers, and visual artist teachers as well.
Emma Joy from the Play Studio has a question and says, are we limited to one slide? She'd like to do an organization slide, but also one with specific program details.
As much as possible, we'd like to fit it all onto one slide, partly because we don't want our teachers to be overwhelmed with information, but you can on your slide include a link to your program if you have that, or contact information for you or somebody at your organization to answer those questions. But we don't want teachers to be completely overwhelmed looking at tons of information.
She says, will you be separating the content between music and visual, or the entire packet will go out to everyone?
The entire packet will go out to everyone. And part of that is because we are a large community and we like to work together as artists, just like you guys do. And many of our elementary teachers pull from lots of different organizations. So until recently, we didn't have an art teacher in every building. So music teachers would pull on some of those art standards and work with some community art organizations. But now that we have art teachers, we have that opportunity as well.
Any other questions? Is this something that can be shared with the community once it's completed as well?
Probably. It'll be a great directory, but yeah, I'll talk with Claire Stockman about that. I'm sure there would not be much of an issue of sharing that. The only, is she here?
I'm here.
Okay. The only issue that I would see with that, if you use pictures with students on your slide, we would not be able to share those if it was their student's face. We can't share that publicly.
Okay.
Claire, do you have anything to add to that?
No, Emma's one of these wonderful people that I can delegate projects to, and this is Emma's project. And you're doing a great job. I'm thinking of this as like a digital Rolodex. Remember, you used to have the old Rolodex on your desk, and it was like, I need a person who does this. Let me turn to the M's. There's one. So this will be kind of a living digital document that teachers can access when they either are looking for teaching artist services or they want to bring someone in to do a demonstration. And one of the things we've found out through the Ensuring the Arts for Any Given Child is we really need to bridge arts organizations, individual artists, and classroom teachers, because arts teachers in the schools have a lot to do and very little time to do some of the research they'd like to do. So if we can put your contact information at their fingertips, that's all the better. And like Emma said, we hope that each artist and each organization will limit their information to one slide. If you think about it like, you know, the cards from the old Rolodex or a business card, so we're going to alphabetize it. So that teachers can very easily find what they need. And since this will live online, you can make updates to it. We're not going to close it. We're not going to stop your access to it. So if you have a new program that you want teachers to know about, feel free to update it. It's directly in the document. We worked really hard setting this up so that you could use it independently from us, but we could benefit from your up-to-date information.
And if you work for an organization and you also offer services as an individual artist, then that would be okay to create 2 slides that are separate, but not 2 for one organization or person.
All right, and Emma shared the link to the Google Slides in the chat, and she's also shared her email address and her phone number if you have any questions. Any other questions about the expo, the virtual expo this year?
And remind us when you need those.
We would love to have we would love to have them by the end of the month so that teachers can have them as they're going back to school. And I would also add, if you're willing to do things virtually, if you will include that on your slide, because Hamilton County will be limiting the number of visitors allowed in our building, and we have no idea what field trips will look like.
There's also a prompt on there for if you can do things voluntarily or fee-based. We want to pay you for your services. We do not expect artists to do things for free. But for teachers, sometimes that's an awkward situation. So we invite you on the slides to be candid with us about fees associated so that we make sure that we take care of our community as part of our arts community as well. We definitely want to do that.
As we kind of close down this part of the meeting, would y'all mind putting the due date or the deadline in the chat box for us? And we'll include that in the follow-up email. Any other questions for Emma or Claire? All right, well, thank y'all for sharing this with us. And we hope that next year it won't have to be virtual, but this is probably gonna be a great resource for lots of people. And maybe we can talk to you about how to take out some of the photos and formatting and maybe even host it on ArtsBuild's website so that more people could have access to it too. All right, so I would like to, I know we had lots of announcements show up in the chat box, and I know that Jan, you talked about the Four Bridges Arts Festival. VA talked about the Hunter opening. Do y'all want to talk about those things and share any updates or announcements just from the community in general?
I mean, I can just announce quickly that the Hunter is reopening. Whew. We are going to be opening just for members starting Thursday next week, the 16th, through the weekend, and then we'll be closed Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and reopen to the public. You know, kind of after we've had our trial run with our members. But we're excited. We are going to be reopening. You know, ordinarily we are open 7 days a week, and we are cutting back to 5 days a week. You know, for the foreseeable future, but the hours will remain the same. We're going to be closed on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So that's kind of the plan for now. But, you know, obviously the social distancing, the masks, the, you know, I don't know if any of you guys saw this, but there was a Texas Medical Association graph that was published that talks about risky behaviors. And I was thrilled to see that going to a museum is one of the least risky. So, but then obviously we are going to be doing all the social distancing and the masks and the hand washing and all of that as well. But we're excited to be reopening. Anyway, here we go.
Well, that is great news. I'm gonna have to try to put on my mask and come up there because I've really been missing visiting the museums. What else would you like to talk about Four Bridges in the fall, Jen?
Sure. Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Hey. So yesterday, Ava received some really good news that our plan was approved by the city to go ahead with Four Bridges. It is going to look very, very, very different from other years, including not having food within the pavilion, food or drinks. So the preview party is going to look very different. We've reduced the amount of artists so that we can spread everybody out. There'll be one way in, one way out of the pavilion. We will not be doing a children's tent this year, unfortunately. And we'll be doing time tickets. So people will be coming in during certain times so that we can limit the amount of people that are in the pavilion. This is all subject, again, to change. So if COVID numbers go up, we might not be able to have the festival. So this is all subject to change. But the good news is we're going to be going ahead. But we're also at the same time, we're working on an app so that people can attend the festival virtually. They can shop virtually, they can attend the festival virtually, and so we'll be having both at the same time. They'll be going simultaneously. So I'll keep everybody informed with what's going on and as we move forward. But the good news is, as of right now, we're able to do it September 3rd and 4th. So.
That is great news. And anything that you want us to share, you know, both you and the Hunter, please send it our way and we'll share it through our social networks and through our email newsletter too. Kate has put into the chat box that she has 5 step-up interns that are working to transform their Jingle Truck program to a virtual program. Do you want to say anything about that, Kate?
Thanks, I'd love to. Yeah, I'm very excited about this opportunity because normally in the summer we're working with youth, sometimes making art bikes or doing a photography project. You know, everything we do has been basically a hands-on, like most of us in the arts, working with youth. And thanks to Public Education Foundation and also our main funders with the Doris Duke Building Bridges program, they introduced us to some online tools and opportunities where we could connect kids virtually. And then I realized who's better to redevelop a program for schools than the youth that are actually going through it and also grown up on social media. So I have an amazing team lead from Warren Wilson College, Caitlin McDaniel. She has really been working, helping me interview the students. And then Monday, the whole team comes together for 5 weeks. And we'll have some actionable items to really move the program into the virtual space for schools in the fall. So I'm very excited about it.
Thank you. That is great news. And we actually had a meeting this morning with another grantee that's moving some of their programs into a virtual space. So people are just doing what they have to do and making the changes necessary to keep bringing the arts to the people. Any other announcements before? I wanted to ask Rodney if he would be willing to give an update about the timeline related to our funding and mission support. But are there any other notices or announcements related to things going on that you want to share?
James?
Yeah, hey.
Hi. I figure I might as well announce, right? About a week ago, we launched our Up for Grabs crowdfunding, or not crowdfunding, our Up for Grabs campaign. It's a naming rights campaign where people can buy an item for naming that ranges from $10 to like $2,000. But the idea is to generate a community, like a little bit of community buy-in, and get people excited and invested in the work that we're going to be doing. So if you feel so inclined to purchase a spoon or a book or a stove, that's a pretty hefty one. I encourage it. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks, guys.
I love it. I think I told you to put me down for 2 books. I can't afford a stove right now.
We've got you down for, I mean, that's 2 books, but it's 10 books total. So that's a lot of naming.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Do you want to talk about your upcoming artist residencies that you have coming up this year too? That's super exciting.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, so in November, we welcome our first cohort of about 9 artists to the site. They're coming from all over the place. We're very excited to have them. Over the next year, we'll have over 70 artists pass through Stoveworks, coming from all over the country. We also have some local artists that are also participating in an on-site studio-only residency. And we have all of those artists are listed on our website. I'll put the link for both the Up for Grabs and for the announcement for our residents in the chat box here in a second. It's pretty exciting. I mean, I couldn't be, any way that we can infuse the arts into our community at like whatever scale possible. But there are worries and concerns with artists. We're taking all of the necessary. We're building a preparedness plan right now for artists on site, and yeah, it's going to be really exciting. Yeah, maybe one day in one of these sort of group meetings, I'll share a presentation on the residency program. But right now, just check it out because it's pretty cool.
Yeah, we would like that. Thank you. And Cam is saying congratulations to you too.
Thanks, Cam.
Yeah. Any other announcements before I turn it over to Rodney? It's good hearing all of this great news. So please,
Jay?
Yeah.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. Hey, I see Rick. Okay. Hey, how are you?
Good. I am excited about. Oh shoot! I'm getting a call right now, and
We can still hear you. We see you now with your hat on, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
We see you now. Okay.
Okay. With Claire and Emma talking about the participation in the arts, but I'm also already with Arts Forward Academy, and we launched that last month, really, and I started off with some ukulele lessons. So, and continuing with that, if you all have any needs for music education, you can let me know. Kids, vocal, ukulele, harmonica, guitar, and it's it's virtual, and because that's how it is right now. But if you have been social distancing and you feel healthy and would prefer hands-on and would wear a mask, I could do that in person as well. So I want to thank Arts Forward for giving me that platform, and you all as well for continuing to have these meetings, keep us informed.
I love it. When you add banjo to your repertoire, maybe you can get me back going with my lessons.
Okay.
I'm not that great, though. I wonder, though, that brings up, would Monica or Dawn like to just update us on how Arts Forward Academy is going before I turn it over to Rodney?
Hey, it's Monica. I don't know if Dawn is on the call or not. We just launched the website for the Academy to be able to direct more parents and teachers to it. I was also going to link it to the Art Expo, obviously, as well, just in case any of the current organizations haven't done so that we can make sure that the teachers connect. But Dawn has really been handling the intake of all organizations, but we do have the website live. It's artsforwardchattanooga.org. And it has the academy on there that you can go see all the current classes that she is and the organizations have uploaded.
All right, and we'll make sure to share that in the follow-up email, and I just put it into the chat box too. All right, so Rodney, if you want to take it away and just give our update, and if you have any questions or any comments, continue to put those into the chat and I'll field those.
Sure. I thought I would actually give some news starting nationally, then move down to the state, and then come down locally, just because it's interesting. Some interesting things are going on. One of the exciting developments is that from the national level, for funding for the National Endowment for the Arts, which affects all of us because we either get money directly from organizations directly from the National Endowment, but they also fund a good portion of the Tennessee Arts Commission funding as well. So the interesting thing is that the Appropriations Committee creates the budget for the national for the whole country. So their Appropriations Committee, and one of the members is actually Congressman Fleischman. Our own congressman is actually on the Appropriations Committee to help develop the budget. But the good news was the ask this year from Americans for the Arts and the advocacy was for $170 million to the National Endowment, which was is an increase. And this is one of the rare times that the actual number in the budget is 170 million that's been in the allocations. The other thing that was interesting in a meeting I was on yesterday was that it was approved by the Allocations Committee by acclamation, which means that is a bipartisan support for the budget. And so that's very unique. This is not a partisan budget, but it's actually a bipartisan effort. So that will go to the Senate as a recommendation, and the Senate will come up with their numbers, and they'll land some. Hopefully the NEA will be the same, but sometimes that gets adjusted in the process. So the good news is that despite any rumor you hear, recommendations about it being defunded by the White House, again, for the fourth year in a row, those recommendations were ignored by the Congress, and they actually are recommending a funding of 170 million. The other thing, which is very exciting, is that in that allocations, in the defense budget, which we don't usually look at in the arts as at the defense budget, but there is wording in the defense budget that it accepts and encourages the use of creative arts therapy. And it's the first time in history that creative arts therapy has the wording, and the use of creative arts therapy is actually included as part of the defense budget. So I know CAM, that's something that's been advocated for many, many years by CAM and other people. So that is a huge win for the arts community. So we're very glad, and hopefully that will all, and would think that would all continue as it goes on to the Senate. Then I mentioned the Tennessee Arts Commission. So many of us arts organizations received information about funding from the Tennessee Arts Commission. It is a crazy year. James and I are in weekly communication with the Tennessee Arts Commission, and it's been obviously very challenging for them too, not only from the state budget issues that they were part of a 12% cut like every other department, but if you hadn't heard that the main source of funding for all the Tennessee Arts Commission grants are the specialty license plates. And during the tornadoes that hit Nashville earlier this spring, or was it February? Anyway, but they ruined the building that and the equipment that manufactured those specialty license plates. So that was another whammy. And so specialty license plates are down. If you should still renew your specialty license plate that will still help. But as far as people wanting to order new license plates, that's a little bit tougher because the equipment to manufacture those plates they have to rebuild those. So there were some interesting changes. Some people probably got less money than they would have thought, but at the same time the NEA provided funding to the Tennessee Arts Commission in support of COVID CARES Act, and so they're finally distributing those funds to organizations. So it's kind of interesting that many of us received not only project funding or request funding for general operating support, but we also received some CARES funding. And especially what was interesting is that, and I think James and I were in the call, we encouraged these organizations to do this, but to look beyond just their typical general operating support organizations, but look at smaller arts organizations that are not getting operating funds, but are doing good work. And so we're seeing some smaller organizations are also getting some an extra $1,000 or $2,000 in addition to their project grant. So that's a great surprise. And then finally, coming down to ArtsBuild, we're very fortunate to receive support from the Tennessee Arts Commission. We also received great support from the city of Chattanooga. We're very fortunate that almost the same amount that we received last year. And so we're very thankful for our city council and the mayor Burke for supporting the arts and ArtsBuild. So we are now we have to wait. We have to wait for our funding to come in before we create our allocations. We're not a foundation, so we have to raise the money before we actually allocate the money. So we have to see what our campaign's going to do and the city funding and all that. So we're close to creating a budget, which will probably be next week, and then the following week. So you'll hear arts organizations that applied for mission support. It's a little more of a wait. It will be the week of the 20th, probably towards the end of the week, that you'll be notified of your allocations at that point. So just hang tight, because we had to wait for this news, and then next week we'll have our ArtsBuild budget, and then I would say the week of the 20th we'll announce our awards at that point. So sorry for the wait, but we're also excited that we're also opened up our CCC, our Community Cultural Connections grants are now open. They're up to $2,000. Does not require a match. You do not have to be a 501c3. It's basically anybody in the community that has a good idea how to make our community better through the arts can apply for CCC funding. And Miriam, who's on, you can see Miriam if you can find her square, will be handling those grants. And so I encourage you to start applying, and it's a rolling grant, which means that the funding's available until the money runs out. So we encourage you to go ahead and start applying for that. And then we have a great review committee that if you apply, the applicants meet with a review committee, and then they make funding recommendations. So it's a pretty quick process. So we encourage you to apply for those grants. Whew, that's a lot. National, state, local. I'll take any questions, or James can add on to anything I've said.
No, I was just going to add thanks to everyone who applied for the Humanities Tennessee grant. So we saw a huge increase in the number of Chattanooga organizations who received that. And also the ABC, the ArtsBuild community grants from the Tennessee Arts Commission. They told us last week that we had doubled the number of applicants from Chattanooga. And we really attribute that to the connecting and the outreach, and a lot of what happens on this call, really sharing the information, getting the word out, and building energy around some of these funding opportunities. So keep applying.
That's right.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Yeah, any questions for us?
Cool.
Well, if there are no questions, I really want to say thank you Thank you for the opportunity today to share with you again. I see a couple of questions coming in privately, and I will follow up with those. Also, I wanted to announce that next week, ArtsBuild will be announcing that we're doing a Tech Goes Home version for the arts sector. So we'll be sharing that information with you and asking you to help us recruit participants for that. Anything else before we head out? Cam is saying thanks for the excellent report, and she's excited about the National Defense Fund. And thank you. I put up on the screen for everyone to see Robert's graphic, so I found it. Thank you. Yeah, and people are just saying thank you to ArtsBuild, but you know what? We thank you because there wouldn't be an arts sector and arts community without everyone on this call and everyone who's doing this work every day. So we appreciate you. We have taken your advice, and we're going to continue to do these Zoom meetings. We've decided to do them every other week. So our next one will be on the 24th. And we have no problem activating them every week if we need to and if we hear that come from the community. But until then, you all have a great weekend, have a great week, and we will be in touch. Just holler if you need us. Have a great day, okay? Bye-bye.